Hi, welcome. Today I am joined, as you can see if you're watching via video, by my beautiful client, Sandy. She's joining me
Hello.
today because we're going to have a conversation about weight loss, specifically fad diets and quick weight loss, and specifically the Marilyn Monroe dress incident. And so, Sandy, before we dive in, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you have a lot to say, so I'm excited to hear from you.
Thank you. Yes, I do. I have a lot to say.
The idea for this sorry. I was just going to say the idea for this podcast came when Sandy messaged in our group the other day after was it the Met Gala that just happened on the weekend? So the Met Gala and the whole Kim Kardashian, lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks to fit into the dress thing. And Sandy was fired up. And I remember I briefly saw something in my timeline about Kim Kardashian, and she, reportedly, losing all this weight in a very short amount of time just to fit into this dress. And anytime I see any one of their names show up in my timeline, I roll my eyes and keep scrolling. I can't even with that family. But Sandy's been diving in and she's really fired up about it. So Sandy, why don't you give us a little, just tell us a little bit about, catch me up on what happened with this dress situation and what's got you so fired up.
Well, the first article I saw about it was her Instagram post, and it was her showing all these donuts and like 10 boxes of pizza after the Met Gala because she was starving, and she'd been restricting herself from sugar and carbs for 3 to 4 weeks to fit in the dress. Mm-hmm. And so she lost 16 pounds in that amount of time. She went to Ripley's, believe it or not, in Florida to try the dress on, and she couldn't get into it. And she said, give me 3 weeks. And they said, she's like, I don't think they believed I could do it. So she's so proud of herself for starving herself. She literally has said that she didn't starve herself, but she was so strict, eating clean vegetables and protein. She cut out carbs and sugar. She ran on a treadmill, worked out twice a day, and also wore a sauna suit to lose the weight.
So first of all, you can't lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks without starving yourself. So I call bullshit on that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So her trainer, was saying to everybody that she works really hard, and she was with her through the process. It wasn't like she was starving herself because she was on a balanced diet, and at times
it's not balanced if there's no carbs, sweetheart.
Right. She wouldn't eat as much, but she really put the work in. Yes. And and they asked the trainer, is there any thing unhealthy about what she did? And
yes, everything.
He's like, it wasn't unhealthy at all. Not from my end, what I saw. And we were working out sometimes twice a day, and it's possible to lose 20 pounds in a healthy way. That's what the trainer said.
Sure it is. Not by starving yourself and exercising twice a day and living in sauna suits and doing it in a very short period of time. Nothing about any of that is healthy.
No. And the thing too, she didn't even end up fitting in the dress. They had to tie it with string, and she had to wear a fur coat around her waist so no one could see that she couldn't fit into it. So she put herself through all this, couldn't even fit in the dress. And she thought that Marilyn Monroe was curvier than she was. So she didn't think that she would have a problem getting into this dress. It's just messed up on so many levels, trying to make yourself into someone else's body, from 60 years ago, I mean, not accepting who you are and loving your body for what it is, trying to morph yourself into some icon You know, from a dress from this like iconic moment where she's saying happy birthday to JFK. I mean, that dress was made for her. It was made for Marilyn Monroe. It was not made for Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It was specifically made for a specific body, first of all, 60 years ago. And P.S., I don't think that she had any business having a dress like that on in the first place. Like, that's part of culture. Like, leave it alone. Like, what if you spilled something on it or ripped it or like whatever?
Well, it gets even better because she wore the dress for literally 10 minutes while she had a photo shoot, and then she had to take it off and wear a replica.
Of
So
course.
she didn't even wear the dress the entire night. She had to practice walking upstairs in the actual dress because they were afraid it was going to rip because, you know, like the seams and everything. I mean, it's a 6-year-old dress to begin with. So, you know, it's like in a fragile state, and it's an iconic dress. Like it
was not made for her,
for you to try to squeeze into
for attention
and to boost your ego. You know, it's like, that's what it is. And it's all about body image. You know, it was just all about body image, and it just made
attention and validation. And I think that, like, first of all, I really think that it speaks to the desperation that we as women have to do whatever it takes. And as you were even saying, you know, put yourself in harm's way just for the sake of validation, attention, acceptance, just to hear somebody say, wow, you look amazing, or wow, great job, or wow, how'd you do it, or wow, you're so amazing, right? The shit that we'll do to ourselves because we're so desperate for those things. And I mean, she just takes it to crazy levels because, you know, she's obviously, I don't know what, but like, it's really, really sad. And it's infuriating because every time one of us does something like this, it normalizes it. Like the fact that she was bragging about the fact that she had done this. And then also, not only that, it's not even, for me, it's not even just about the starvation diet that she went on in order to achieve it. And I'm telling you, I was a trainer, and a good one. You don't lose 16 pounds, especially for somebody that's already that size, right? For somebody that's already not super heavy to begin with. You don't lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks without starving yourself. I call full on bullshit on that trainer. They were lying. So to me, it's not even just about the fact that she starved herself for 6 weeks just to get into this dress. It's about the fact that they're calling it healthy, right? They're saying that it was done in a healthy way. No, it's not healthy to have so much of your identity and your worth and your sense of self wrapped up in what your body looks like and how small you can get and how much attention you can get. That's not healthy. Just for the sake of being in a smaller size and getting into a specific piece of clothing, nothing about that is healthy. But the fact that she felt so confident about just bragging about the fact that she did this, I think really speaks to how messed up our culture is, because she knew very well that she's going to get praised for it. She's not going to have people go, oh my God, that's so unhealthy. I mean, maybe a couple will, but the majority are going to want to know how she did it, and they're going to love her and think she's amazing. And I think that it really speaks to how messed up our culture is, in that we equate thinness at any and every cost to health and beauty and well-being and all of these things. And the other thing about it that really makes me angry is, you know, you said she posted the picture of the donuts and the pizza and all of that stuff that she was going to have. That's binge eating that follows restrictive dieting. Hello. Like, this is literally what I'm saying all the time, right?
Yeah, right. And she fell right into it. I mean, there was,
and she promoted it as normal. Sure, completely and totally normal to starve yourself for 3 weeks and then binge on all the foods you couldn't eat while you were starving yourself. Sure, completely and totally normal. Not disordered eating at all. Not a gateway to a deadly eating disorder at all. No, completely normal and healthy.
there's a celebrity that came out to talk about it and like
Oh.
said how effed up it was on like hundreds of different levels, and how
Only one celebrity.
one celebrity. And then actually BuzzFeed actually sent out like an article recently, like within like, I think it's like within the last day, saying how they never meant to promote, like disordered eating and those kinds of things. And they
But you
never
are
saw it.
promoting it when you give it a platform. Don't give me that bullshit. Like, don't even.
Well, then they tried to retract and, interviewed a nutritionist, a dietitian who works like specifically with people with eating disorders, because I think like people were really starting to get upset about it and realize how messed up the whole situation was and how people were promoting it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's not, it's easy to throw her under the bus because let's face it, she's friggin' horrible on every conceivable level. But so it's easy to throw her under the bus. But the reality is that shit's normalized everywhere in our culture. The fitness industry that I was a part of for so many years, that's what happens. It's not always about necessarily starving yourself, especially now that, quote, strong is the new skinny. It's still about restricting foods, right? For the sake of transforming your body into something that it may not necessarily want to be. And then what happens when you restrict? Cheat days, which is really just code for binging. And it's completely and totally normalized and celebrated. And every time we have somebody come out and talk about engaging in these behaviors, it further normalizes it.
Yeah.
It further normalizes it. It makes it completely and totally normal. And whether, BuzzFeed or whoever else is reporting on it or not, talks about we didn't want to promote that. That's exactly what you're doing when you give stupidity a platform. You're promoting it, right? And there are young girls, like, so many young girls see that.
Yeah.
And grow up
And
thinking
men
that's
too, like,
normal. And then they get into their 40s and 50s and 60s and they wonder why their relationship with food in their bodies is so messed up because of shit like this. Because we're seeing shit like this our whole lives.
Right. And they're looking up to these celebrities and this is what they're doing. And and they're saying, oh, well, the prom's coming up and, like I should buy this size dress and I can lose all this weight now. And
look how much attention she got when she lost the weight.
Right.
I want that attention too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because thinner is better. And, it's sad. Sad.
It's infuriating. Yeah. Eating disorders are the biggest killer among all mental illnesses. And they are completely and totally normalized with behaviors like that. Completely normalized. And the younger girls are when they start their first diet or weight loss attempt, the more likely they are to struggle with weight their whole lives. Right? So like I said, there's not even struggle with weight, but struggle with food. Sorry.
Yeah. I said it on social media now. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Completely normalized. Yep. Just gross. And just like, again, too, it's infuriating and it's gross, but it's also really sad. Like it makes me sad because I remember feeling that way. I remember being in that position where I was so desperate for validation and attention and for somebody to just say, you're amazing, you look so great, or, you're such an inspiration or just whatever. I remember being so desperate for that kind of attention and validation that I put my own health at risk over and over and over and over again for years. I did the same thing. So, and I think you can probably relate to that as well, right?
Yeah. For my wedding, there was a certain weight. It was like a goal weight I had in my head. And I was like 5 pounds over that weight. And I went to like this, like an eating place, like to lose the last 5 pounds for them to put me on like, like a diet before, the wedding. So I could be that weight. So I could, somehow feel better about myself. And it was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. As if 5 pounds or really any pounds should have the ability to impact how we feel about ourselves. Right.
But yeah.
I have to tell you though, it does give me Gives me a little bit of satisfaction to know that she put herself through that and then she still didn't fit into the dress.
Me too.
Ass in
And
me
like,
kind of enjoys that a little bit.
yeah. Well, the thing was too, I mean, there's so many comments and people like, commenting about it and the situation and saying, like, just wear the replica. Why didn't you just wear the replica to begin with? No one would have, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah.
Well, when I first saw it, like I said, I just saw the thing in I didn't even realize it was the real dress when I saw it. I thought it was a replica because I didn't think anybody would be stupid enough to let somebody actually wear the real dress.
Right. And they even had like historians, come out saying like they should have never like let her do that. And they showed when she went to Ripley's, like trying to get it on like first time. And like people, I mean, she had all these like, undergarments on, everything, sucking everything in everywhere. And they're like literally pulling it up. Like they have like white gloves on, trying to like get this on her. I don't know how it didn't rip to begin with, but
oh God.
I don't know. And she hasn't really said anything, but she came out with a quote, be teachable, be open. You're not always right. That was
sweetheart,
her.
you're not.
That was her response. Yeah, but it's just like,
I guarantee within 2 weeks, she puts, maybe sooner, she puts every ounce of it right back on. I guarantee, or more.
100%.
I remember my first competition. Speaking of putting myself in harm's way in order to be a certain, transform my body into a certain way. The first competition, I remember, I was still binge eating back then, like 2008, I think it was. I was still a binge eater. So, the cycle, restrict, binge out of control, restrict, binge out of control. And so, because I had been doing that, right up until the competition, I think that probably the last week or two, I didn't do any binging because it was getting close and I still wasn't lean enough. Right. Mm-hmm. And so super strict. The day before the competition, my friend and I went to the grocery store because we were competing together. We were dieting and competing together. And so we went to the grocery store and bought everything. It was just everything. And we got back to her apartment the night after the night of the competition. After the competition, we got there about 11 o'clock at night. My flight was leaving to take me back home in the morning at 6 a.m. From 11 till like 4:35 when she had to take me to the airport. We just sat and ate. Just sat and ate. And so this is what I'm picturing her doing right after this. And let me tell you, 11 pounds, I was 11 pounds heavier the next day. That's what I was in one night.
How did you feel?
Like shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
is it
shit?
I know. It's just like, is it worth it? I don't know. This cycle is just so toxic. So toxic.
It's so toxic, but it's promoted as health. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Promoted as health, right? The whole time I was doing that shit, everybody was congratulating me for my new healthy lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. And even her, you said yourself, the trainer was saying, oh, we did it in a healthy way.
Right. It was healthy. I was there. She, she worked really, really hard. Okay.
No. Mm-hmm. No, I call bullshit.
I do.
At my most, I was training 2 and 3 hours a day, and I still wasn't losing 16 pounds in 3 weeks. You can't out train. Like you can't, no, I just bullshit. She starved herself and then she binged afterwards, which is literally an eating disorder, basically. And she's promoting it. Yeah. Sickening. So upsetting. Yeah.
It is.
How are we going to change the world? We got to stop this.
Good question. Like part of me like felt guilty, like getting so like into it. Cause it was just like, I don't want to like give it the attention or the energy,
Yeah, because that's what she wants.
Right. But it's like at the same time, it was just so upsetting and just like, just to think about, people and like the people that were, like against it, or just like, like the men and like like the younger women and the men. And I didn't even think about men. I was like, but it's true, I mean, they have all their body stuff too, and no one really like, puts a spotlight on that. But, just to be so like vulnerable and open to so many things, and at that age, and just like thinking that that's what you should do is upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's promoting this idea that, I mean, it's oppressive. It's promoting this idea that we're put here to, be pretty,
Yeah.
right? To get attention, to look a certain, to be skinny, to be pretty, to be sexy, to be,
Marilyn Monroe.
it's to be Marilyn Monroe, like as though that's all we're worth. And I know that for me, like the reason that I was so stuck in that cycle myself and was because I didn't have any other sense of self outside of it. Right? I didn't feel like I was good enough without having, getting attention for what I looked like. And I think that's the saddest thing, is that's what's under it, right? When you're that desperate for attention for what your body looks like, that's what's under it.
Yeah. Yeah. And everything is just about body image. Everything is like how your body looks,
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, because it's all we're worth, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is so far from the truth.
Yes. So far from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how we get that. It's hard because that message isn't shiny and pretty and fun and
Right. Doing the work and learning to love yourself for who you are and accept your body for what it is. And, that takes a lot more work than, I don't know, restricting and then binging and doing all over again. I mean, it's the deep stuff, but you have to do that work too, though, to get there.
Well,
get to that.
and that's such a great point, because we're always talking about, you always see people talking about body positivity and loving your body and accepting your body, and that stuff is kind of trendy right now a little bit, but it's not really addressing the underlying problem, which is the fact that we're attaching our worth to what we look like, right? And if we don't have that underlying sense of worth, it's really, really, really hard to love what you see in the mirror, right? And it's way easier. Like there's this idea that's that we're constantly that's constantly reinforced, that the only way to love our bodies is to transform them into something that's lovable, right? Lose weight, gain confidence. That's what all the ads say. Lose weight, love your body. That's what all the ads say, right? But I was on stage getting trophies and I still didn't love my body. And I guarantee you that after this incident with the dress, Miss Kardashian does not at all love her body.
Absolutely not.
Because you can't do all of that stuff to your body. You can't, just to fit into a dress.
Right.
And then come out of it not even fitting into the dress. I guarantee she's not confident in her body.
Right.
And that's the thing, because we think that we have to change our body to find confidence in it, or to find confidence in ourselves. But it doesn't work that way.
No.
Does not work that way.
No.
Well, hopefully the more people have conversations like this, maybe we'll start shifting minds a little bit as more and more of us keep these conversations going.
I hope so. I think so. And, I think like the work that you do is, I mean, I've been with you for about a year now, and my mindset has like so much. Like, I think I would have looked at that like a year or so ago and been like, wow, like, look at what you did. And, and it just like, now it just disgusts me.
Yeah. A year ago, you would have been looking at it, trying to figure out how she did it, right?
Right. I'd be like, oh, okay, 3 weeks, I can do this. I can like,
Yeah.
I can start myself for 3 weeks. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. But
it's gross.
it's not worth it.
No, it's It's not worth it.
Not
Not
worth
the
it.
answer.
Mm-mm.
Hmm. So, do you feel better now that you got that out?
I do. Because it was just like, yeah, it just like triggered me in a lot of different ways. Like just, like the restriction, the binging, the
Mm.
trying to be something that you're not, I mean, it was just so, so sad. And then just to be like in that position to be a role model for so many people of all ages, I mean, I think of like younger, teenagers, like, being influenced by it, but it's everybody,
Yeah.
it really is. And I just think that if you don't talk about it, it's,
Mm.
not, people aren't going to get the message.
They're not
So I
going
think
to
it's,
get the message. And also, one of the best things to do when we personally feel triggered about something is to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad we did.
Yeah. Me too. It
Yeah.
felt good.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.